All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for
BoJack Horseman, Season 4, Episode 6. That's right. Someday, you'll be able to tell your mom to just... Yeah, all of those things that I'm not going to say at the beginning of a YouTube video for the sake of the algorithm.
Yep, exactly. So, all right, BoJack, your mom is living with you.
Yeah.
And kind of your daughter for now?
Kind of. Yeah. But, you know, you're doing a good job of, like, keeping yourself from acting close with her yet, even though you guys are getting closer, because, you know,
one day at a time.
One day at a time.
One foot in front of the other.
Maybe no hugs or shoulder pats just yet.
No.
Yeah.
But it's a very, very interesting time for BoJack. There's a lot of responsibility that he now has put in front of him that is fragile in terms of the approach that, well, not the approach, but in terms of the state that they are, in terms of things around him. So his more brash behavior that he tends to do around episode, 11s,
right,
now has a lot of things that can shatter and break.
I fully believe that while, yes, we will have some bumpy roads, right, we are on the uptick. We are on the, ascension out to the abyss we've hit the lowest point, and we're not going to get that low again.
The concept of, like, the higher you go, the larger the fall is.
Oh, yeah. No, I know. And we've had 3 seasons of falling.
Well, yes, and rising along the way.
Yeah. No, it's going to be fine. But, this is where the actual development happens, because having a good day, anybody can have a good day. It's, laying new, like, patterns and everything, that takes a long time. Maybe 3 seasons worth of time.
I like the way you think.
Yeah.
I like your words, Magic Man.
Yeah.
But y'all, without further ado, let's get into this.
Piece of shit.
Yep. That's a start.
Stupid piece of shit. You're a real stupid piece of shit.
Oh, just his headspace.
That at least makes me better than all the pieces of shit who don't know they're pieces of shit. Oh, I don't deserve breakfast. Shut up. Don't feel sorry for yourself. What does that do? Get breakfast, you stupid fat ass.
Oh my god.
These are cookies. This is not breakfast. You are eating cookies. Stop it. Stop eating cookies and go make yourself breakfast. Stop it. Don't
Holy
eat one
shit.
more cookie. Put that cookie down. Do not eat that cookie.
I feel this so much. Wow.
Tina's gonna make breakfast. She needs milk. Can I take the car or what?
Oreos also need
milk. Driving my car, getting her grubby hands all over everything. She's not grubby. She's your daughter, you piece of garbage. You're a piece of garbage. A real shitty piece of garbage.
Oh my god.
Okay, think, idiot. Hold on. Oh shit, they're all looking at you. Open your idiot dumbass mouth. I will get milk. Milk. What are they talking about right now? Probably you and what a dumb piece of trash you are, you fat sack of idiot. Why don't you do the world a favor and swerve into oncoming traffic? No, you don't deserve to die young. Only the greats die young. Oh, now you think you're young all of a sudden.
This is incredible.
One drink.
Wow.
Whoa, is it night suddenly? Show's on.
I like that they had that happen because...
Oh my god, is that life? You're there, you do your thing?
Because he is not dependable.
Get it, Jake. It's sober. No. Sober now. Come on, you drunk piece of shit. Be less drunk. Now. Okay.
With the cocked eye.
That's a day you'll never get back. What was that? You're a real piece of shit.
Where have you been? Did you get the milk?
I'll be right back.
That's an amazing cold open.
Yeah,
that'll probably never be beaten.
That was incredible.
I say that, but it's gonna take a lot to beat that. That's a really
like that was
fantastic cold open.
Like, man, being
who in the writing room was like, I've got it.
Right. When your perspective is oriented around accomplishing objectives, and you have bad self-talk, it's kind of hard to get out of that. Why the fuck are you having all this bad self-talk? Fuck you, you're useless.
I have,
why are you so negative?
I have so many years of my life that I just remember being blanketed with negative self-talk.
Oh, yeah.
And then I had to, like...
You can talk about it in past tense, that's great.
No. So now I have decently bad self-talk. But the thing is that I had this thing that I do that, like, purges all thought. And I become, like...
Gamu gamu no baka.
Right. I become dumb for a little bit.
You don't want to stick around? Eat breakfast together?
Great pitch. Love your energy. It's a pass. What are you doing? Go home. You're parked on the side of Mulholland doing nothing when you could be eating breakfast with your long-lost daughter
and your dying
mother. You are a terrible person.
Use the shoulder, asshole!
Yeah. On a curve. Yeah. I'm sorry, what?
I wanted to tell you right away.
Right this way?
Oh, I gotta go. See you tonight.
Wow.
If it isn't my favorite client, Courtney Portnoy. Who is she?
He?
Yes. Hee ha ha. Now tell me your name.
Rutabaga Rabbitowitz.
Yep, I knew it.
Fish.
I knew
We
it.
got a nice bounce off of Court's engagement.
Yep.
Court is what I'm calling Courtney for wordplay-related reasons that will become apparent at the end of this sentence.
No notice is the new notice.
This wedding is so fancy, we don't care if you have other
But why would you want
plans.
Jaden Smith at your wedding?
You're right.
Being
Well,
engaged
also
is
just
one
you
thing,
can't
but I'm
do a
not
wedding
sure
that
I want to
quickly.
actually
Yes.
get married.
We can draw up
No,
a
details,
standard
details,
Hollywood
Caleb.
sham marriage
Important stuff.
contract. 3 years, non-exclusive. Huge payday.
Oh,
Keep it down, Ove. You'll make the baby cry.
Baby.
She
Oh.
kept asking where the baby was, so I had Tina get her this doll. She's totes into it.
Mom is.
We're gonna now
totes
transport her
into
back
a
into
baby.
when she
Is it
first
possible
had
the baby got
BoJack.
addicted to brandy at some
Yep,
point?
yep.
Cigarettes or regressive ideas about immigrants?
I think she just wanted a baby. Did you see what your mother is doing? Isn't it incredible?
Yeah,
Making
actually.
breakfast at 3 in the afternoon. So with it.
Isn't this baby well behaved?
Probably because you're such a good mother, Beatrice.
Yeah.
Say that.
I was very nervous to have a
Oh,
baby in
well,
the house, but it turns
burning.
out all it needed is a mother's love. Oh, when you grow up, you can.
Saved
Bitch
everything.
comes in and
Whatever beef you have with your mom, that's just a sweet, confused old lady.
She's right. You're
Yeah.
wrong. She's in there somewhere. She knows exactly what she's doing.
His inner thought said she's right.
All this shouting is bad for the baby.
Where was that keen parenting insight 50 years ago?
Henrietta, you're unfit to be a parent.
I'm unfit.
Ah!
Jackass. You think it's so hard to be a parent to a doll? I could do that. I'm an amazing parent. What if I left it in its room all day and didn't feed it or change it? Oh, that's okay too. I must be mother of the year. What if for 18 years straight, I just tell it how worthless it is every day? How it embarrasses me? How my life would be better if it was never born? Would that be a good idea? Probably, right?
Give me the baby back, you worthless waste of my husband's jism.
Oh, so you do know who I am. Hey, you think the baby would be okay if I threw it over the side of my deck? Probably, right?
BoJack, don't.
Do it. Nah, I'm just kidding around. Here you go, Mom. Oh, no, my hands are so slippery. Oh, no. Oh. Nice arm. You goddamn piece of shit idiot asshole.
yeah, there we go. There we go.
This is what you always do. This is why Mom loves Doll more than you. And she's right. Doll never hurt anybody. Doll wouldn't throw you over the side of a mountain. Gotta make things right. Gotta get Doll back.
Oh my god.
Okay, one drink and then...
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
California can't wait. Am I ace
Just
of
the
base right now?
blink and
Because
he's here.
all that I want is another one of these babies. It's not like you to be so testy.
What if Mr.
it is.
Peanut Butter
Everyone,
helped him out?
Take
Like,
the rest
actually.
of the day off. My pal BoJack needs a friend day. California
Oh.
can wait.
California can't
You
wait.
have to play this wedding.
Hey, okay, got it. This way? Oh, no, that way.
Because BoJack was doing that
Out the door.
complicated of a routine with the doll.
Yeah.
Look at him. Not a care in the world. How does he do it?
This is the place.
You could have just looked down over
Oh,
the
hi,
side.
I'm
BoJack Horseman.
Felicity Huffman.
Looking for this?
Wow.
Well, keep looking, buddy. You're a real piece of shit. You know that?
Yes.
So, instead of talking through your issues, your new thing is to just get in really big fights and then have hot, angry sex.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Kind of works.
Does it?
I'm
Does
sorry,
it? Yeah.
I feel like we always talk about me.
Oh.
Okay. Hey, Diane, can I get your advice on something?
Yeah, of course. I'm not doing anything.
Wow.
So, I have this friend.
And sometimes it's hard to remember that pure,
She's already left.
shiny
Yeah.
thing because it's been painted over with so many arguments and compromises and disappointments.
Gestures towards her friend.
Yeah.
Disappointments. Even if you can't see it. And maybe even the belief in it is more important than the thing itself. But only as long as you still believe it.
Yeah, thanks, Diane. You've given me and Dark Wimpertis McNarrington a lot to think about.
Well, how you completely forgot the name.
That was good advice. I'm like a really good friend.
And the offer?
I put it under a big box that's propped up by a stick. If she goes to look at it and the box falls on her, she's contractually obligated to do the movie.
Yeah,
Wow.
I know what packaging talent means.
Okay, she's
Oh my God.
She's sniffing around. We got Meryl!
All right, yes!
Wait, so is Meryl not human? Like, what?
I don't know.
I met her about a month ago.
Whoa!
Yeah, and it was great.
This
at
is good.
first.
Process
Now
this,
I
yeah.
can feel
Talk
her
it out.
getting attached, and I just know I'm gonna BoJack things up.
BoJack things up. You mean show up somewhere and be the life of the party? And then share a laugh with your good friend Mr. Peanut Butter?
No, obviously I meant screw everything up until she hates me.
Or dies from a drug overdose.
I don't want to, but every time she looks at me with those big, innocent eyes, all I can think about is every shitty thing I've ever done, and I think, I don't deserve that kind of love.
Look, BoJack, I don't know a lot about balancing a state budget or how a bill becomes a law. I don't know a lot about a lot of things. But I do know this. Everybody deserves to be loved.
I can't marry Courtney.
What?
Oh, I've been doing some thinking, and marriage is like a Tootsie Pop. The lollipop part is a lie. But at the center of the lie, there's a truth. That's the Tootsie Pop. And that's why people get married. It would be a lie without any truth in it. Like a Tootsie Pop with just the lollipop part and nothing in the middle.
So, a lollipop? That's still pretty good.
I guess it's a bad analogy, but I don't want a fake marriage.
Thank God you're not a mother. You would be hilarious at it. Hey, today was fun. I'll call you in the morning. We'll figure this out. We'll deal with it.
If you'd like to never see him again, I have ways of getting rid of him.
What kind of ways?
Asking him politely to not come back. Actually, that's only one way. I apologize for misleading you about the other ways.
He's a jerk, right? It's not just me?
Because you care about people other than yourself. And for what it's worth, you will be a wonderful mother.
You're not just saying that?
I never just say anything. I choose my words very carefully with an eye towards precision and expediency. I'm surprised you haven't noticed that.
Good night, Judah.
Good man.
I fucking love him.
Yep. Except for that whole thing of many ways of getting rid of him.
Yeah.
Is that?
Yeah. Yeah. It's a big box.
It's got Meryl Streep in it.
It's about time, Henrietta.
You're welcome.
The nurse realizes the healthy thing to do is to take her away from BoJack.
Go talk to her.
Yo, talk to her. Yeah.
Drink first. No, you stupid alcoholic. Talk to your daughter. You're ruining her. You know that, right? No matter what, your poison is already in her. There's nothing you can do. And everywhere you go, you destroy people. Of course your mother never loved you. What do you expect? That's why Sarah Lynn died. That's why Charlotte will never forgive you. What are you going to do to Hollyhock? What are you going to do, asshole? Shut up!
Oh, boy.
Got doll back. No big deal.
Where do you go when you disappear all day?
Just drive around. Sometimes I go to a bar. Sometimes I pull over by the side of the road and just sit there for hours.
Why? And you'd rather do that than spend time with me.
Hollyhock.
I know you didn't ask for this dorky 17-year-old to just show up at your door. Then I'm sorry if I'm annoying, but
No,
I didn't ask
Hollyhock,
for...
I'm glad you're here.
Oh.
If I'm shitty, that's just because I'm shitty. And you're allowed to be mad at me. But you need to know that whatever I do, it's not your fault.
I know. I mean, I know, but I don't always know, you know?
Yeah.
Like sometimes I have this
Such
tiny
good
voice
writing,
in the back of my head that goes like, hey, everyone hates you.
Yeah. Yeah. Good.
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
That voice, the one that tells you you're worthless and stupid and ugly.
Yeah?
It goes away, right? It's just like a dumb teenage girl thing, but then it goes away.
Yeah.
Oh. There's a lie, but there's a nugget of truth in the middle of it.
Yeah, exactly. Wow. That was fantastic. We got actual unfiltered BoJack inner monologue. Love it.
All right. So,
okay.
BoJack, unfiltered monologue, inner monologue.
That was incredible.
Thoughts.
I love it.
Good.
Good. Yeah, just wow.
It was a treat.
It was a treat.
We basically just got to sit there and get all of his negative self-talk, but also the things that he drifts to at specific times and during specific instances when he tries to do something more.
That's a mental tar pit right there.
It is a mental tar pit. And I like that it was visualized through not just the stick drawings and the chaotic stuff and things like that, but also the imagery that would show that he believes he's dangerous to others, and that's why he holds himself back from feeling like he deserves good.
Yeah.
That's a really cool way to visualize shame. Like,
and I love that the drawings are specifically those kind of crayon stick figures because that's a kid's drawing, right? Yeah. Like, you know, the ways in which it's like, yeah, he's still that kid, right? Like he's gotten older, he's matured in certain ways,
but he still wants what that doll had.
Yeah, exactly, right? And the like, there's just something about it that I feel like is such a good, I don't know, seeing that internal self-talk. That, I would say, is also probably BoJack at his most relatable. At least for me. Because that's the circumstances of BoJack's life. That's a bit more out there, right? It's dialed up. It's a bit more extreme, you know.
Yeah.
I don't
Very
live
few
in
people
LA.
can relate to that.
Yeah, exactly. But you stupid piece of shit, you know, you did this thing and you get upset at yourself for doing this thing that you're doing because you're focusing on the thing, and then it's you know, it's this perpetual downward spiral, and then hey, you know, well, I guess a good day is just going away to drink the whole day away, because then at least I'm not doing something bad, right? Like that I felt that. And yet, because we know how dysfunctional BoJack is, like when there's ways that like I know I've rationalized my own self-talk as like this is just me trying to motivate myself, and maybe it's not the most healthy thing or whatever, but you know, if it is enough to get me to do the thing that I know is good for me to do, then you know, then whatever, right? But then seeing BoJack doing something like that, it's like, oh yeah, no, that's not good, isn't it? You know?
What's wild about this is we used the character of Hollyhock to also draw the relatability to it by showing that she has the same stuff that she's dealing with, but she's hopeful in that that'll eventually go away, right?
That's just a teen thing, right?
Right. And the thing I almost want to get into from like a, not just a philosophical angle, but like a biological angle here, is you realize how like fucked it is that like every single human being essentially has this.
Oh, yeah.
How have we evolved as a species to rely on this?
I would say because
how isn't this like
how hasn't it been weeded out, or how is it rather been perpetuated by the evolutionary cycle? I would say it's because we're communally minded creatures, and that you know, if we're in the herd, then we survive, and because you know, the herd will basically pick on each other, right? Well, and there's the way that you basically learn to adapt to the herd, but then that causes you to have all of these insecurities because you're not sure if you're actually, you know, fitting in and everything, measuring up.
Yeah. So what that is basically is that the herd is the voice.
Sure.
The amalgamation of what you should be doing for the sake of the community.
Right.
To fit in and not stand out. But if you're isolated, you need to make up the herd's voice.
Right.
So people who generally tend to be isolated do this as a defense mechanism to push themselves in a direction based on what they believe would be the most effective for them.
Yeah, it's like,
and now there's obviously trauma that's going to, you know, color the voice and change it in a lot of ways. But I like what you're getting at here. The idea that we do this mostly when we're isolated. We talk to ourselves in this regard mostly when we don't have that kind of voice coming in another, you know, vehicle.
Sure. I mean, it's tough for me to speak. Like,
I'm not trying to speak about the humanity, but I'm saying, like, at least for you and me. Would you agree? Like,
here's why yes and no.
Okay.
Cool. Yes, because, yes, but at the same time, I feel like that doesn't mean anything for me specifically, because I am a very like withdrawn kind of person in general. You know, I don't interact with people a whole ton anyways.
Would you say your negative self-talk is like really bad?
Oh, I mean, of course. But at the same time, I don't know what other people's self-talk is. So, you know, like the whole thing, the thing that probably like spoke to me the most is when BoJack's like going through all of these things of like, oh, I'm terrible. And then he's like, I should just swerve headlong into traffic. You know, like the part where it's like it goes to such an extreme extent that is truly ridiculous.
It's anti-survival.
It's anti-survival, but it's the thing of like, like there is no aspect of that is helpful, right? No. And even if it only really can work in self-talk because if you say it out loud, it becomes ridiculous, right? Like it's that's completely silly. But because you aren't actually, you know, speaking it out loud, it just sits in there and then it can do its thing.
Well, that's my point, is that if you are in an unisolated, you are surrounded by people environment, you have too many other voices basically competing for the space of that voice. If you're isolated, you literally will hear this voice and no other. There is no speaking out loud. You just don't do that.
Right. Well, and that's where it's the that's where you get the distractions, right? Like the fact that we can have.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Well, the fact that we can have BoJack have these moments where he goes to drink, and yes, he has the negative self-talk while he's drinking, but I mean, you know, probably not nearly as much as it is other times, right? Even though it also is about his drinking, but we can get things where he'll just suddenly like, oh, suddenly I'm here, right? He's distracted by the fact that he's intoxicated, so he's not actually able to have that kind of self-talk. That can also happen when you're, say, interacting with people or sleeping or, you know, or whatever, right? But
right. You could call it distractions, or you could just say that it's a thing of where you're not hearing the voice. It's the idea of it being a distraction versus it just not existing. You aren't perceiving it.
Because it's self-talk. Yeah, you can talk about the distraction as you're distracted so you don't hear it, or you're too distracted to be talking to yourself like that.
Right.
You know, both work. Right?
I think it's actually a very important distinction because one, you're actually incapable of doing it if you're unconscious, like you're asleep.
Sure.
For instance. But the idea of then going, I'm going to remove my ability to do this by going to sleep or drinking until I black out, basically, is different, basically, than saying, oh, I know I'm going to be capable of talking to myself like this if I'm in an environment where I am conscious and there's other voices competing towards it.
Okay.
That's like a distraction, in my opinion, then where it's I can hear it there, but it's very quiet because there's like 25 other things. Like I think there was an episode actually where BoJack brought up a thing of like, is life just a thing where you just distract
a series
yourself?
Of distractions to
Yeah, and I think that's kind of the beauty of it, is you can focus on the areas where it's I'm going to remove the choice of which voice to listen to entirely by drinking or doing something that literally removes your ability
or,
to
talking with your daughter, right? Once he actually started talking with her and, you know, like it wasn't just sitting out there, he doesn't have the opportunity to actually be talking about himself that way. Or, you know, you could replace this with any litany of other things that are all of the things that BoJack, knows that maybe would be good to do. If he is, say, cooking breakfast for himself, right? He can't really. It doesn't make sense for him to be like talking to himself that way, right? The mind and body don't like to be in out of alignment, and so if you do one thing in one area, that will generally cause some change in the other. But of course, you know, he also doesn't want to do that because he's gotten comfortable enough and familiar enough with this state that he's in that he keeps eating the Oreo, right? Like that was probably the most like the most relatable in the like innocuous like because everybody's done that, right? You know, even if people haven't done the other stuff that BoJack's done, right? It's the
don't
eat an
do
Oreo.
The thing,
right?
I do.
That was a tasty Oreo. I'll have another. I don't need another, right? Whatever, it's no big deal. Okay, now I really don't need another. Okay, but like, you know, right? And then it's like, all right, you've had 37 Oreos. Just put down the fucking Oreo.
With just crackers in general.
You know? Exactly. You get that box of Cheez-Its and suddenly it's gone. And you're like, oh, fuck, how did this happen? You know,
what is wrong with me?
The Costco muffins that only are sold as the 2 packs of 6. And then
or
it's
just
like,
a take-home pizza when you're like 18 years old and you are like, I'll save some of this pizza for tomorrow.
Yeah. Right. The Christmas pastries.
It's a $3 pizza, you know. I'll just get another one.
Yeah, the Christmas pastries where you're like, I mean, well, this will last me a long time.
That's a you thing, brother. I
2 or 3 days later,
I've rationed out my Christmas sweets.
No, because you did the good thing and you put them in the freezer, where it's like they're not in convenient, easy access, right? It's the same thing as not carrying a box of Cheez-Its up to your computer.
No, but that's exactly my point. There's a difference between removing something from even being a choice, because to me, with my kind of small ADHD, out of sight, out of mind, I forget that they're there in the freezer. So by doing that, it's a form of the sleeping, drinking, and going, I can't see them, therefore I literally forget that they're there.
Or put in the way that's the flip side that's scarier for me. I don't see the Cheez-Its that are right by my chair because I'm doing something on the computer. And so I don't know they're there. And I'm just, Right.
Totally relatable. But the difference is, I was talking about how I used to have really shitty self-talk. Now I just have decently bad self-talk. And what I did specifically was I had to do a mental practice to end thought for a bit. Just to reset.
Yeah.
And you know what I did? I love that you brought this up. But they bring it up even in the end of this episode. You just start talking. Don't talk in silent in your head. Talk out loud.
Oh, yeah.
And the thing is, this is something that I find to be something that makes me, I almost want to write a book about this specifically, but the idea that we as a society don't like the sound of people talking to themselves. There's something about it that rubs people the wrong way. But I think the reason why is it reminds them that there's a voice, there's a thing that is going on inside them. And if they have to acknowledge it, then it's
interesting.
It's a bit weird.
I wasn't thinking you were going to go that way, because when I think of it for myself, right? I might say in my head, Jacob, you stupid piece of shit.
Right.
You do this thing. But if I start saying that out loud, if I'm saying, Jacob, you got this. You got, go for it, right?
Yeah.
That's not going to feel weird, right? It's the okay,
Will it feel weird to you?
No.
It won't.
It'd be like I'm intentionally trying to psych myself up to make sure that I do
But it will
this
if you're
thing.
around other people.
No. If it's positive, not really. I might do it more under my
breath.
breath.
You're rare in that regard. Most people feel uncomfortable talking to themselves in front of other people.
No, totally. And I might feel a little bit uncomfortable from it, but it's not in the this is something that I'd bother to do anything about kind of a thing. But if I'm like, Jacob, you stupid piece of shit, you're so fucking useless, why can't you just do this basic ass thing? I would feel real fucking self-conscious to do that in front of other people. There's no way. I wouldn't even feel comfortable doing that alone with myself. Right? And so that's the thing of where it's the double standard, but because we're not actually thinking about it, we end up doing it, right? And so then having a thing to either make it so that you say can't, right? Or it's a specific thing that practices not doing that. For a lot of people, that's working out or some kind of physical activity where it's okay, you are, it demands your attention, and so then you can't actually
practice. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, mine is a form of meditation. Basically, I use it to basically reset all thought. It's not a superpower. It just basically quiets my mind for a little bit, and from there, I then speak out loud to fill my mind with something that I can't ignore. You can't ignore basically I'm not trying to get metaphysical here, but basically when you hear something, your mind has to line and pattern with it. So if you then go, okay, I'm going to start blank. I don't know, whatever that is. I'm going to go make lunch, It's okay, cool. My mind starts thinking food, lunch. Yes, that feels great. Okay, I'm going to go do that. That's a great way to go, okay, taking a declaration about a physical practice that will then distract you from the self-talk stuff, at least for the moment, but then also give your brain problem solve. How do I make lunch? I don't know what I want for lunch. I have to figure that out. It basically keeps your brain active. And I would say that generally, the more isolated you are, the more lazy you are, the more distracted, or the less distractions you are, the more prone you are to having these kinds of things. And yet, there's no shame in that. The idea that you need to use distractions or you need to use practices or mantras or any kind of stuff like that in order to align your mental stuff with your physical being and stuff in that way, that's the only thing we have.
That's what everybody has to do.
No, but the thing is, that's all we can do. The belief that there has to be like some way in which you just don't have any of these thoughts and stuff
exactly.
is the same kind of thing that's going to perpetuate the negative self-talk.
And
how
so
have you not figured this out already, you piece of shit?
And so then going to the thing that BoJack tells to his daughter of the, oh, this is just a teenage thing, right? And he's like, yeah, that's totally a lie.
Absolutely a lie.
And in fact, that could have been a great point of connection between them. It's like, although he's thinking, but then that's going to be a downer thing for her, right? But at the same time, okay, sure, the happy lie, that might help her getting through it right now, sort of, in that it's like, okay, that's just a thing right now. But then that's not actually her working on it. And if it is something that can continue into later, if you were to tell her, then maybe that might let her be like, oh, okay. So, I have to just be comfortable with it being like this all the time, or I have to figure out something to make this a bit more manageable because this sucks. And I love that she ended up bringing up the whole thing of, yeah, you do this thing to take care of you that you think is like helping in this situation, but now I'm just like, oh, my dad just doesn't want to spend time with me. And, he's like, no, but it's like, I love that he does the thing of none of it is because of you, right? It's because of me. And she's like, yeah, I know, but I don't always know, right? Like there's there's still going to be that voice in your head that's like, okay, yeah, it's just a them thing, right? Yes, them not talking to you is because they're just going through a rough time. But what if it's not? What if it's not? What if it's actually that you did something? What if it's that they hate your guts, right? Yeah. Like that sucks. That shit sucks. And it's not logical necessarily. It doesn't, like, no matter what you do. No,
it's never based in logic.
Right, exactly.
It's suppositional. You're taking disparate tiny bits of data that have some merit in reality, but then drawing a picture together to give yourself an answer. And this is where I think that a lot of this kind of stuff just comes down to okay, I live my life in search for solutions, answers, and ways to progress. I think most people go through that. Even at the base level of survival, it's how do I get food? How do I sleep tonight? How do I get water? Those are all little solutions, goals, answers, and things like that. But when it comes to how do I live? How do I live with myself? How do I feel happy? Most of these things are not going to have answers. You're going to have temporary distractions from the question. And I think fearing the question or having shame over the questions is one of the most damning things we can do as people. Is basically obsessing that, like, I don't have an answer. I don't have a thing that works forever. So, I did have a thing that worked, and now it doesn't work anymore.
Therefore, I'm worthless, which also makes the problem a bigger problem.
Right.
Yeah.
No, that's the whole point. And that's why community is so important. Because, like you're saying, if he was vulnerable here and he shared, hey, I don't know. Because one, I'm still dealing with this. But two, I know this idiot, Mr. Peanut Butter. And for whatever reason, he doesn't seem to have this. He might, but it's really fucking hard to tell if he would have this. I know that Princess Carolyn has this. I know that Diane has this. I know plenty of people that have this at many different ages and walks of life. But I know one person that doesn't have this. And I also know another guy named Todd. And
but he's a,
He might have a really light form of this, but also he might not really have this kind of thing. It might be a different kind.
And, oh, by the way, I know that for the sake of myself, that it very much comes from the fact that I had a lot of shitty things done to me as a kid. So, that has something to do with it. And, oh, hey, like, that's where there is the truth to the insecurities about you're fucking up your daughter the same way that you fucked up everybody else in your life, right?
Yeah. Like, there's always some tiny truth to it.
Yeah, there's some tiny truth to it, and the question is it a lollipop or is it a Tootsie Roll, right? And is that a bad thing, whichever one it is, right? Like, are you okay with both? Like, can you actually
just keep licking?
Yeah.
I mean, really, that's the solution to life is
just keep
licking. Because the worst thing you could do.
She'll get there eventually.
Well, no. But the worst thing you could do, basically, in terms of the lollipop Tootsie Roll analogy, even though it's a horrible one, as Tom brought up, is to try and pretend that it's not a lollipop or a Tootsie Pop.
Exactly. The point where BoJack was I'm forgetting, but basically the time. Oh yeah, when BoJack brought up the whole thing about the distractions, right? You know, way back, and it's like, is our life just a bunch of series of distractions? Theoretically, right?
Yeah,
like
he's
that,
mostly right.
Yeah, like there's something to that. There's a reason that your mind is going there, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't have to mean what you think it means, right? You can look at that and be like, oh my God, that's depressing. And then, oh, hey, nihilism and, you know, it doesn't matter and,
or
you
just,
know, whatever.
Or just you have really no, like, agency. You are basically just the way in which you respond to environmental stimuli. And so, thus you live in a simulation and all that kind of
but
stuff,
that's where then when you get those uncomfortable observations, the thing that, like,
grounds you.
The thing that grounds you, and this is something that, like, it was very annoying when I would be in like a therapy session and I'd be like, no, but like, what about all this stuff? And then I'd be like, okay, it's a good point. What are you gonna do? Yeah. And it's like, oh yeah, shit, right? Like that doesn't, you know. Let's say that it's all a bunch of distractions.
Yeah.
So what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
So what are we gonna do? You know?
I don't know. What do you want to do?
Right, exactly, right. You know, so like there, it's the that masturbatory kind of like oh, you know,
I need to do something.
I'm thinking about all the things that are problematic. I mean, sure,
yeah,
but also
that's a great, lovely place to be in. I think that there's a couple aspects of living life that are diametrically opposed to each other, and I think that contentment and peace, are diametrically opposed to most of what culturally we are driven to believe that we must focus on.
No, I mean, it's right there in the word driven.
Well, I meant in terms of the way in which it's like cultural, societal, communal, not brainwashing, but just general programming.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But usually the people that have the most happiness are the people that are the most content. They have the most...
I mean, almost like
kind of accepting of,
almost categorically, like you don't even need to think of like, oh, but what is that actually the case? No, like based on the definitions of the word, that's almost how it has to be, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we know that,
yeah,
but we don't actually do it,
right? And so while you might not have an answer to get those things, BoJack, you might not have a thing that works. You have some great coping mechanisms that are getting you through days, if that's what you want.
Right.
Time's moving real fast, BoJack.
And maybe you are like absolutely fucking up your daughter with each passing day in which you do this stuff.
You will never know.
You know, you very well may be.
You could be, but if you want to have some acceptance of reality, if you want to have some peace, having these quiet moments where you kind of look at the matches quickly just dissipating into the pool and stuff like that, and wondering, wait. You know, how many matches are left in the box? You know, can we keep going like this? I don't know. You might need to actually like start being vulnerable and show some opportunities to connect with her through your pain, your struggle, and opening up that way could fuck her up in that she might never be able to see the concept of things like family or things like relationships in general in a positive way. But also, if you're going to kind of give her pretty little lies too, I don't know if that really does much in the immediate either. But I do like the spirit of it in Todd's Tootsie Pop thing, in that Todd also had his own kind of negative self-talk this episode of just being like, am I doing the right things as an asexual? And I'd be like, you're fine. You can do whatever you want. Like the
whole point is that this is a journey of self-discovery. So what does right have to do with it?
Yeah.
Like, and that's
you're afraid that if you do something that's not typical of an asexual, that you're no longer allowed in our group. No,
right?
Like what?
It's a similar kind of thing with Diane. Like, even though like
that was a very funny scene.
That was a very funny scene, in the rambling that you were doing and all that stuff would. For anyone other than Todd, that would be probably like the most unhelpful, pointless, like just, okay, clearly you're processing something.
Yes, she's processing her own shit, basically.
Yeah, her own shit.
But
and so because she's
kind of helpful.
I think it was fantastically helpful for Todd. And the fact that she thought it was good is because she realizes that, oh, that's what I need right now. Like that's me processing stuff. And you know, hey, yeah, maybe that whole thing of getting into arguments and then just having hot, steamy sex afterwards, you know, maybe that is going to, yeah, maybe that's just processing. Maybe, maybe there's going to come a point where it's like, oh, wait, this don't work anymore. This don't work anymore. Yeah. That's fine.
That's fine. That's literally what we're talking about with the negative self-talk
stuff. That doesn't mean that it didn't work back then.
Exactly.
So just because it doesn't work anymore, that doesn't okay, now you need to find a different solution to the problem. And maybe because you haven't been doing a solution, like you've been doing just the one solution, now that it's gone, that can feel pretty bad because then it's like, okay, now we have to figure something out and we don't have anything. Right. But there you go. Even if it's just a distraction for a day. Like, what's the difference between a distraction and like, because distraction has like a negative connotation, right? Like, what's the difference between a distraction and just doing something else, Or like, why do distractions have to be a bad thing? Like,
I mean, again, it's just all vernacular.
Right.
It doesn't really matter.
Yeah. Like if you're distracted from like, going to the gym and so you wash a bunch of dishes, Great. It might not be the thing that you were specifically wanting to do, but you still did something.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, generally, people that are distracted don't fulfill goals.
Right.
But in terms of the goal of your life, which is to maybe find peace amidst your tumultuous inner thoughts that are not really helping you and stuff, don't really need to get bogged down in does my house, have a slant in it,
Right.
Like,
yeah.
You can
Although,
you can be okay.
I think you're 100% right. That is absolutely going to come into play later.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to come into play specifically with his mom in the wheelchair. There's going to be a point when they actually like make connection and everything. And then he's going to realize, oh, wait, hang on a second. She's slowly rolling towards, I don't know, something bad. Yeah, the pool. Yeah. Uh-huh.
It could be a whole bunch of things, but yeah. Great episode. Lots of fun stuff to talk about. But y'all, thank you so much for watching this episode's reaction and discussion. If you want to see the next episode's reaction and discussion right now, though, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon and get an early access there. You can watch full-length timer reactions there, and all this comes with Discord access, so you can chat with us in the community there about this show, about animated shows in general, and also be sure to check out our Twitch channel. So yeah, if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all
next time.